So event is nothing but something which we can perform. Okay, let me. So event is nothing but a change of a state or whenever we perform any action, so that action can be triggered with the help of event. Okay. So maybe you can say if I click a browse, okay. So if I click on a button, so then it becomes an event. Okay. If I'm dragging a mouse, that becomes an event. So change of state of an object is called as an event. So every time if you are performing any action, okay. So if I in with the help of the JS, usually we do in the front end application. Suppose if I click on a button, so at that time a form should come. If I click on something and message should come at the top with the help of a box. So those things with the help of the events, we can easily capture them. Okay, so event is nothing but change of a state of an object is called as an event. Changing the state of an object is called as an event. So these events we can also perform in Aem. So in the repository, whenever we are performing every action, suppose if I created a page or if I created a node or if I changed a property on a page, okay, so if I created a component, so internally it will trigger multiple events it will trigger. So this events, we can track that with the help of event handlers. So with the help of the event handlers, we can track the we can track the resource level events as well as sling level events as well we can execute. So we have a lot of type of events. Okay, consider I'm creating a page. When I'm creating a page, so at that case, I want to add some metadata to that page. Okay, so page created is one event which we will trigger, and once the page is created, so then we'll add some metadata. Suppose an asset is there. Okay, so digital assets are there, right? So if I'm uploading an asset, so at that time we have to capture that asset, and then we have to add some metadata. So metadata is something which we can add manually also. But every time if we are uploading a lot of assets or if we are creating a lot of payers, so we might forget to perform this action. Okay, so in those cases, whatever the requirement we are having, so that will be missed, or maybe that images will be excluded if you are writing a query. Suppose I have uploaded the images and I want to retrieve the images based on the metadata. Okay, so but if I'm performing this metadata adding manually, so at that case we might miss for some images or for some digital content adding this metadata. Okay, so when we are retrieving that data, so we will not get the images. Okay, so in order to perform these kind of actions, so then with the help of the event handlers we can easily do that. So we can capture the events whenever an action is performing, we can capture those events, and once we capture those events, if I want to perform any custom business logic, so then with the help of those events we can easily perform. Okay, with the help of the custom business logics, so we can perform those we can perform the event topics. So if we go for events, so if I want to create an event handler, so then this is the thing we have to implement. So every time we are going, so once you have created a class, first we have to implement this event handler interface. So once you have implemented this event handler interface, it is an OSGA service. So we have to convert this into an OSGA service. So in order to convert that into an OSGA service, we have to use @ component and @ service. So inside the component, we have to pass the service attribute to convert that into an OSGA service. So every time we are creating an event handler, we must and should implement this event handler interface, and we have to override this handle event method. So whatever the logic I want to write, so I'll be writing this logic inside the handle event method, because when the bundle goes into the active state, so automatically this handle event method will be executed. So with the help of event handling, we can listen to different types of events. We can listen to the JCR event handler, and then we can listen to the resource based event or page activation event or page created event. So we have a lot of event topics. We can easily listen to all those event topics. Suppose if I go for the node event, so node added, a node removed, property added, property removed, property changed, a node moved, and node persistent. So these all the topics which we can easily listen. Suppose if I create a node, so at the time internally in the JCR repository, it will trigger this node added event. Okay, so if I remove a node, so at that time node removed event will trigger. So if I'm changing a property, so property added event will trigger. So every time we can trigger these events with the help of the event listener interface. Okay, so everything which we are performing, every action, if we make any changes in the AEM repository, So then the changes will be applicable in the CRXT, right? Because whatever the content we are having, so every content will be stored in the AEM repository. So now I'll go here. If I go to the sites console, if I'm trying to create a page, okay, so inside this Marvel, if I create a page here, so event is one page I am creating. So once I've created a page here, so what happens? A node will be created inside the content node, right? Okay, so if I go inside this one, inside the content node, a node will be created under US and EN. So if you observe here, a page has been created. A page of event has been created because we have created a page. So this is nothing but page creation event. Suppose if I go there and if I try to publish this page, so at that time also internally it will trigger page publish event, it will trigger. So publish is nothing but activating the content from author instance to publish instance. So while activating the content as well, so we can also trigger one event. So if I'm adding one property or removing one property as well, so we can easily listen to the events. So with the help of these events, I can also track when it was modified, when who has modified it, and then who performed this action as well. We can trigger and what action has been performed as well. We can trigger with the help of event handlers. Okay. So every time if I want to add some metadata to the page when a page is published or when we are uploading the assets to the dam, so then also we can perform these events. Suppose if I'm having a workflow, so when the workflow should be triggered with the help of an event. So then also we can trigger the workflow with the help of an event. So we can whatever the actions that are done inside this repository, we can capture those events, and once we capture those events, we can perform any business logic. So if you don't have any business logic, so if you want to log those data, okay, so who has performed this action and when it was performed. So if I want to log that data as well, so with the help of this event handlers and event handler interface, we can easily log those events. So we in the entire repository we have a lot of things, right? Suppose if I want to perform this event handler on the entire repository, we can perform, but we are having some requirements. So when on which action we need to perform. So on every action we don't need to perform, right? Suppose if we are deleting a page, we don't need to perform. Okay. So right now, whenever we are creating like this, so it will perform on entire action. So I don't want to perform these things on the entire repository. I want to perform only on a specific case. Okay. So these specific cases has been divided into multiple times. Multiple times these has been divided. So if I go here, we have a lot of events. Okay, so page events I'm having, dam events I'm having, the replication events I'm having, workflow events. So these are the different types of events which we can capture. So when we are going for a page event, so with the help of this id, so com slash day slash cq slash wcm core page, so this is one id. So with the help of this id I can track an event. Okay, so with the help of this id I can track an page event. I can track. So what page events I can catch? Page created, page deleted, page modified. So these three events I can tag with the help of this ID. Okay, suppose if I want to track on an asset, so then with the help of this second ID, I can track on an asset. So com slash day slash cq slash dam. So this is something which we can perform on the asset creation. Okay, so asset deleted, asset modified. So those actions we can track. So based on the whatever the assets we are having, so those asset actions we can track with the help of this dam events. Okay, so we have to remember these event topics. Okay, so if you are not remembering, you can just get that from the documentation as well. So it will be available on the interface. Okay, so you can just go to browse the Adobe's events and then you can just get those events as well. Okay, so event dam event we are having. So if you want to capture any dam events, so then with the help of dam event we can do that. Okay, so if I want to perform anything on replication, activation of the content from other instance to the publish instance. In the replication, if I want to trigger the replication, so then with the help of this public ID we can do that. So com slash shared as cq slash replication. So this is something we can trigger. Okay, so what type of replication events we are having? So activation and deactivation. So publishing the content and publishing the content. So those two activities we can easily trigger with the help of this activity ID. Okay, replication ID we can trigger. Suppose if you are not good with this replication ID, so we can also trigger that with the help of this replication constant. So this is a constant whatever you see here, so this is a constant, and then this is an id. So if you're not remembering the id, so we can actually keep this value inside the replication constants as well. So event constants dot replication action is the event topic we can specify. So that is how also we can do the replication event. So same like if I want to track the workflow events, so workflow has been started. So if I want to track the workflow events, so then this is the id to track the workflow events. So workflow has been started, workflow has been removed. Okay, a process step has been started, participant step has been started. Okay, so content has been approved. Okay, so these things, whatever the things that are going inside the workflow, so all these things we can easily manage with the help of we all things we can easily track that with the help of this workflow event interface we can track. So this is the id, or we can also use this constant. So with the help of this particular constants as well, we can perform this event with the help of this event constants as well, we can perform this event constants. Okay, suppose if you are going, so bundle events will be there, right? So life cycle of a bundle. So bundle has been resolved, started, resolved. So installed, resolved, start, stop, optional. So start and stop are optional, and then activate. Every bundle should be in the activate state, and then unresolved and uninstall. So sorry, stop and uninstall will be the life cycle methods, right? So if you want to track these life cycle methods as well, so bundle events as well, if you want to track, so then with the help of these events, we can track the bundle event. Okay, so bundle has been gone into the install state. So internally, it will trigger this event. So bundle event it will trigger, installed event it will trigger. So after install, it will trigger the resolved event. They are not in a line. So install, resolve. After the resolve, the bundle has been started. Stopped is an optional step. Okay. Install, resolve. Install should be in the last. Okay, so these are the bundle events. A bundle has been installed. Bundle has moved into the resolve state. So if it is changing the state, so then it will trigger one event, right? So after installed, it will be moved into the resolve. So after resolve, it will be moved into the started state. After started, unresolved, updated, stopped, uninstalled. So all these actions we can perform. So with these actions, we can easily trigger the bundle events with the help of these event IDs. So similarly, the OSGA service events has been, we can also listen to the OSGS service events. Okay, so event has been modified. That means we are changing a bundle. Event has been registered. So service event has been registered, unregistered, and then modified. Suppose if you are changing any value inside the component, so then with the help of modified event we can trigger. So registered event we can trigger the activate, and unregistered event we can trigger the deactivate. So these are the service events. So if I want to perform any action on the OSGS services, so then with the help of the service events we can do that. So similarly, we also have the framework events. Okay. So internally, the frameworks will be working on the JCR repository. So if you want to perform this JCR level events as well, so we can do that. So framework event has been started. Packages has been refreshed on the package manager. So start levels are changing. So these framework events will trigger when we are starting the AEM. Okay. So instance has been started. So then started event will be triggered. So whenever we are starting, multiple packages will be there. So all the packages will be resolved and all the packages needs to be installed. So in order to perform that action, so then with the help of package refresh it, we can do that. So start level changed, and if you are getting any errors or warnings as well, so we can trigger those errors or warnings with the help of this framework events. So we can perform multiple actions based on these IDs, and then we can easily listen to the events and perform some business logic. So if you are not having any business logic, so if our current requirement is only to log the data, so who changed these events, or who performed this action. So deleted actions has been performed by someone, or creation action has been performed by someone. So if you want to track these events, so then with the help of the event handler, we can easily do that. Okay, so just try to create one event handler. So if you want to create an event handler, so then we have to write a backend logic. So in order to perform the event handlers. So just go to your VS Code and open the project. Okay, so inside the core module, we have the bundle, and inside the bundle, we have the listeners. Okay, so listeners is one package which has been already created, so you can go for this listeners package as well. Okay, so just go inside this listeners package and try to create one class. So right click on it and new Java class and create an example. So example. Okay, so this is one class we have created. So once you have created this class, what we have to do, the first step whenever we are implementing this class, so first step we have to call the event handler interface. Okay, so we have to implement the event handler interface. So once you have created this class, so try to implement the event handler interface. Implements event handler. Okay, so multiple imports will be available. So you have to import this org OSGI service event should be the import. So every time you are importing, so you have to import this org OSGI service events. And once you have implemented this interface, so as it is an interface, it contains public abstract methods. So every time whenever a class is implementing an interface, it should override all its public abstract methods, and we have to provide the implementation. So inside this inside this event handler interface, we have one method that is called as an prop handle event method we are having. Okay, so whatever the logic I want to write, so that logic we have to write inside this handle event method. So inside this handle event method, it is accepting the event object. Okay, so as an argument, they are sending the event object. So whenever the event has been triggered, so that all the events can be whenever we are performing any event, whatever the data that is there about the event, so that data will be stored inside this event object. Okay, we can retrieve the information of the action which has been performed with the help of this event argument which we are passing inside this handle event method. So this event handler, if you want to perform, so we have to convert this into an OSGI service. So in order to convert this into an OSGI service, so we have to use at the rate component. Okay, so and then make that as an service. So service is equals to event handler dot class. So we have to pass this event handler at the service level to handle the events. So event handler dot class, because whenever this service has been executed, we want to retrieve the information. Okay. So inside this event object, we want to get the data, right? So when should be executed? So automatically when an event has been triggered, so then with the help of then with the help of the topic which we are specifying, we have to store the data inside this event object. So in order to store the data inside an event object, so we have to listen to that. So in order to listen with the help of the service, we can easily listen. And then, so that's why we have adapted this event handler dot class as an service. Okay, so after that, immediately after deployment, I want to get this class as an activated. So that we have to pass this property immediate equals to true. So when I'm passing this property immediate equals to true, so immediately when the bundle gets deployed, so that actions can be stored inside the event topic. Okay, so inside this service events, so inside this at the rate component, so we have to pass one more parameter. Okay, so that parameter is nothing but property is one parameter we have to pass in order to specify the event topics. So we are having a lot of events, right? So bundle page events are DAM events, replication events, workflow events, and bundle events, OSS service events, framework events. So a lot of events we are having here. So we have to specify what type of event I have to capture. So we but customly will not capture every event, right? So we have to specify what type of event I want to capture. So I want to capture a page event or I want to capture a DAM event. So if I want to capture a page event, so this is the ID or this is the constant, we can use anything. Or if I want to capture the replication event, so then with the help of this replication action, we can perform with the help of this replication events, either by using this ID or either by using the replication constants, we can perform that action. So if you want to perform, so then with the help is event topic is equals to, so we have to specify the event topic in here. Okay. So whatever the event topic I'm having, so this is the constant. So I want to perform the event on replication. When the page is published, I want to track that information. So in order to track that information, so then with the help of these event topics, we can specify. So com slash day slash cq slash replication is my event topic. So now we can pass inside this event topic. So now what happens here? So every time whenever the pages have been published or unpublished, so at that time those events will be stored inside this event object. So before publishing or unpublishing, so we are passing as a static data. So this is a static ID we are passing. So instead of passing as a static ID, so there might be a chance whether in some cases it might not be triggered because it is a static ID. Okay, so instead of passing as an event topic, so here we have one thing called as an event constants. Okay, so import this event constants, get underscore. Okay, so event constants is one thing we are having. So importing org osgi service dot event we are having. So what does it contain? So it contains the same value. Org osgi service event dot event constants is the value we are having. So first we have to call this event constants, and after that inside this event constants we have to call the event topic. So event underscore topic is one thing we are having. So event constants dot event topic. So here we have to specify what type of event I want to trigger. So if you observe the value, so it will have this value only. So com dot event value it will be having. So once I have the event value, so now we have to pass the event value here. So we have to pass the event value inside this event topic. So you can just pass like this. Is it the double quote? And here we have to specify the event topic. So if you want to specify the event topic, so then what type of topic it is? So this is a replication event, right? So replication action should be the event topic. So then you can specify like this event constants dot event topic and then replication action should be the one event underscore topic. Throwing an issue here. Syntax so event constants dot event topic is equals to replication actions dot event. That's how we can specify or else example. Okay, so we have to specify like this. So just can get this one plus double quotes and try to import this replication action.
So you've missed a plus there.
Yes, yes. Sessions. Yeah. So now we have got the replication action. So inside this replication action, it will contain the same thing. So com dot day dot cq dot replication dot replication action. Okay. So whatever the static ID we are having, so this static ID is inside this variable. So that is which is inside the replication action variable. So you will find the same data inside this replication action. Okay. So there is no need to specify like this. Okay. So now what happens here is, so every time whenever I'm performing like this event constants dot event topic and then a replication event dot event topic I'm performing. So what happens here is, so anything. Okay. So if you are performing any action inside the repository for every page, maybe it can be a retail page, weekend events or Marvel page. So for every page, if I'm performing, so for all the three things it will work. Okay. Because we are not providing any filter. So with the help of the event filter, what we can do is we can specify to our project. So right now it will perform on the entire repository. So we don't want to perform on the entire repository. We want to perform only on that particular page or a particular project which we are using. So I want to track only the data of the particular project we are using. So then with the help of this event handler interface, then with the help of one more thing we are having, so which is nothing but an event filter. So event constants dot event filter is one value we are having. So with the help of this event filter, so we can perform the action. So what happens here is, so with the help of this event filter, we can specify the path. Okay. So we can specify the path, we can filter the path, and then we can also specify an action. So now when I'm specifying this replication action, what happens inside this replication action? We have two things inside the replication action: activation and deactivation. Okay. That means publishing the content, unpublishing the content as well. Two actions we are having. So right now, when we are using like this, it will internally trigger the two actions. Both replication action it will trigger, and unpublishing or dereplication action also it will trigger. Suppose if I want to perform only one action, okay, that is only I want to get the data whenever the page is activated. Okay, so that is the one action we are having. So only in that case, if you want to perform as well, or if you want to perform only on particular path, so then with the help of the event filters topic, we can then with the help of these event filters, we can do that. So inside this event filters, we have to pass the parameters we have to pass. Okay, so it can be more than one, right? So if you want to use more than one, so then with the help of grouping operators, we have to do that. So that is nothing but parenthesis. When you are writing multiple conditions, we have to use the parenthesis, and also we have to use the operators. So which type of operator I want to perform? And operator I want to perform, or operator I want to perform. So when both the conditions are true, so then I want to return the result. So then I'll go for and operator. So if any one of the condition is true, I want to perform the action. So then we'll be going for the or operator. So if you are going for the operators, so then we can perform the action. Okay. So in order to specify, if you want to perform any operator in between these two filters I'm passing two filters here. Okay, so one filter will be passed in one parenthesis and second filter will be passed in another parenthesis. If I want to perform and operator here, so then you have to specify outside of between. So you will not specify in between them. So you'll be specifying outside. Okay, so internally it will be replaced by this action. Internally it will be replaced by this action, and then in between these two things, so this and operator will be executed. Okay, so single ampersand is the symbol to perform this logical and operation. Okay. So once I have got this logical AND operation, now I have to specify things. So whenever the thing has been okay activated, okay, so we have two things. So first one is two types we are having: activation and deactivation. So whenever the page, so now the type is I want to trigger only activation event. So then you have to specify type is equals to activation. So type is activation. So whenever the page has been activated, so then only this will be triggered. And then second thing we have to specify is path. So path is one parameter it will accept, and then we have to specify on which path I want to execute this event. So I want to execute in this project, right? So Marvel, for the Marvel pages I want to execute. So simply you can just select this project. For entire pages I want to execute, including the home page as well. So that's why you can select the entire one. So once you select this entire one, okay. So now what happens here? If I'm passing like this, so it will only trigger for the Marvel page. Only Marvel page will be handle. Suppose if you want to include all the subpairs as well, US, EN, events. So if you want to include all these subpairs as well, so at that time, in the end, we have to mention this special character star. So when you are including this special character star, so it will internally trigger all the events. So when you are using this special character star, it will internally it will internally include all the child payers as well. Okay. So once this action has been performed, so every time when we are performing this action, so this events will be handled. So once if I publish a page, so then it will handle this, right. So event constants dot event filter replication will be activated. So whenever the page has been activated, so at that time we have to pass. So maybe activated, not activation, activated we have to pass. Okay, so the value is activated. So once the page is activated, so at that case whenever the OSJ service is running and when the page is activated, so this will be executed automatically because we are implementing this event handler interface. So whenever it is executing automatically, when the activate method has been executed, whatever the data that we are having, so that entire data will be inside this event object. Okay, so we can retrieve the we can retrieve the date, time, who has been modified, on which path it has been modified. So whatever the information that is required, so that entire information I can handle inside this, I can get inside this event object which is created. Okay, so inside this argument, I can get the entire data. It has a lot of methods inside this event class. I can call all those methods to retrieve the information. I can retrieve the paths, I can retrieve the name where they have been there. Okay, so who has modified it, who has modified the event, at which time it has been modified the event. So if you want to retrieve all those things with the help of the event object, we can do that. So we'll try to write this inside the logs. We'll track the data inside the logs. So try to create an log here. So private static final logger. So import should be SLF4J should be the input and create an object for it. This equals to logger factory dot get logger is the method. So once I've got this get logger method, so for this class I have to write the logs dot class. So for that particular class I am writing the logs. So once I have written the logs for this particular class, so we'll try to write some information. So log dot info, okay. So we'll try to deploy once after the events has been triggered. So at that time we'll try to print the data from the object. Just try to deploy this one. Get the log files first. CRX quick start logs and then error.log we have to go for. It is deployed, right? So try to go to the sites console and try to publish a page. So this is EM page we are having. If I click on this quick publish, now it will publish the page inside the logs. Search for this message. Sending message to the local host, agent of publish, process is failed, post action. Try to turn on your publish instance. It is not required, but we're having the action like forms publish. Still, we're having an error. So article is executing, or maybe so type is equals to activate, not activation or activated. So type should be activate. Okay. So once it is deployed again, try to clear the logs and sure. Till activation, page activation, till activation, try to set it. Once it is deployed, till 9 queue. What is type is equals to activate, then parts of paths is the value we have to pass, not the path. So just change it from path to paths and deploy it again. So every time when we make any changes in the backend, we have to deploy those changes. So type is equals to activate and path is equals to the specified path we can deploy. application action dot event topic combat develops without action. Application action. So the type is equals to activate and this is equals to content model equals yeah. So now we can see the example activation event handler. So inside the event handler method, it is returning. Okay. So once after we have got this event handler method, so we can perform the action. So if I want to log those whatever the paths which has been which it has been included. So then with the help of this event object, we can do that. So inside this event object, if I want to retrieve the data, so then inside this event object, we have a method that is get property names. Okay. So get property names is one method where it will return the all the properties. So this get property names is having one action. So which it will return in the form of an array. Okay, so it can be more than run, right? So we can publish multiple pages at the same time. So it can be more than one. So it will return in the form of an array. So try to get that as an array. So yeah. So once I have got this property names, so for every property name, if I want to print the log file, so then we have to go for an for each loop. Okay, so inside this for each loop, we can actually print the properties. Okay, so every time with the one property name will be assigned to these properties, and I can print in the log files. So log.info, and inside this info, first what I have to get, so I have to get the property name I want to get. So in order to get the property name, so property name, and this property name will be stored inside this property object. So property names it is returning. So from this property name, one name will be assigned to this property object. So at that time the property will be inside this one, right? So we can just get the property name with the help of this property. Suppose if I want to return some more information, so then we have to write another one. So property path. Okay, so where this property comes from, so where the page, which page has been activated. So if you want to type, so then with the help of the property, so that is nothing but the path, we are returning the path. So if I want to return this property name, so this property name we can get inside this property object. Okay, so we can get the property name inside the property object. But if you want to get the property path, so then event dot get property is one method we are having. So event dot get property, and then for this property name, I want to retrieve the value. So property contains the property name. So one will be assigned here, and then I can get the name directly. I can get the name because the name is inside this one. Okay. So if I want to retrieve the path when it is modified, and if I want to retrieve where it was modified, so then with the help of the get property method, we can do that. So this get property method is accepting one parameter, which is nothing but event parameter it is accepting. Okay. So this property is the value which we are having here. So with the help of the property name, it will retrieve all the path and the area which has been located. Okay, so we'll go for entire US. Under US, I'll include all the pages. So that means EN and event is the pages I'll include. So once you have got this one, so try to deploy it. So these two things you have to remember. So type is equals to activate. So if I'm not specifying type, so both activation and deactivation, publishing and unpublishing will be triggered. And then here we have to specify paths, not path. We have to specify the value as paths. And try to publish the page. So we'll try to publish both the pages at the same time, EN and okay. So now if you observe here, so it is printing first thing, and then after that property name it's printing, modification date, property path. So where the property path is there, so this is the property path. So property name and then property path. So property name is paths and it is returning the property. And then who has modified it? So user ID. So user is ID is currently we are an admin user, right? So admin is the value. And what is the type of the property? So type is nothing but activation. So activate is the type, and then what a event topics is nothing but the property com slash day slash replication, because it is a replication event. So then event topics is there. Suppose if I try to remove this type is equals to activate, so now it will perform on both activation and deactivation. It will perform, so it will just take the path as an parameter. So now we'll deploy and we'll try to check whether unpublishing is uh, trigger or not. So in order to unpublish a page, so select the page and go to manage publications. Unpublish. Here we have an option of unpublish. Select the unpublish option and then click on next and click on unpublish. Continue. Okay. So now we'll try to check whether unpublish has been done or not. Asking for the application of deactivation send. If you're not passing any group or multiple values, you're not passing, right? You can directly mention that inside the path. Go on unpublish next and then unpublish. Let's see, chat rabbit publish robust response yes and this accept. Yeah. So if you observe here, so inside the handle event method and then modification tab and then property name is deactivate. So it is deactivating, right? So unpublishing is deactivating the event and deactivate event has been triggered. And then who has triggered this event? So user ID is the property and then property name is admin. So how this entire information is returning? So this entire information is returning with the help of this logger file. So inside these properties, we have a lot of information. So for every information, it is iterating and then it is printing that data. So that is how if you can track publish and unpublish event. Suppose if you want to track only publish event only, so at the time inside this we have to pass one more property which is type property. So when I'm passing as a type and when you specify the type as activate or deactivate, so then we can only trigger the specific event. Okay, so if I want to check the node added event and node deleted as well, so then we have to change this replication topics and then we have to change this event topic, and then once we specify the event topics which we have seen in the start, so then we can trigger the other events. Okay, so like creating a page, whenever the page is created, if I want to perform that event, so at that time we can go for this particular topic. So we can use these topics and then we can create page created event, we can trigger page modified event we can trigger with the help of this page events topic. So that is about the event handlers.